Hey guys, so today it is time for my makeup inventory update for September. It's been about 3 months since my last video in this series. I've been doing these videos on my channel for the last couple of years now, and it's just been a great way for me to periodically take stock of everything that I own in my makeup collection, and it really helps me kind of keep tabs on everything and make sure that I'm using everything that I have and that none of my categories are growing to a size where I wouldn't be able to use everything or use everything up in a reasonable time frame. So at the beginning of the year, I set some goals for myself, just some kind of loose goals for the kind of maximum number that I would want to be at for each of these categories. So we're going to go through each of those categories and discuss how well I'm staying within that goal number. Most of these categories I'm doing quite well, although there are some where I have gone a little bit over. I'll also show you a little video clip of each of those categories so you can kind of see what we're working with. So let's get into it, starting with primer. So primer, at the beginning of the year, I set the goal to have no more than 3 primers in my collection at a time, and I did start the year with exactly 3, and I'm actually now down to 2. I'm thinking I eventually don't even want to have any primers in my collection because I've just kind of moved on from them. I just feel like my skincare routine should be my primer, and I don't need that extra product really in my routine, so I'm kind of trying to work through mine. Currently trying to pan the NYX Angel Veil. Who knows, maybe someday down the road I'll get back into primers again, or I'll find a primer that totally changes the game for me, but for now I don't really see this as a very necessary step in my routine or a very necessary product to have on hand. So I'm guessing I'll probably lower my goal number to maybe like 1 or 2 next year, but for now I'm at 2 and I'm happy with that. Then we have foundation. My goal at the start of the year was 5. I feel like 5 is a good number to have so that I can have, a few different types of finishes or levels of coverage. I actually did a really good job kind of staying around that goal number. In my last update, I was right at 5. And I'm now up to 7. Now, the 2 that have joined my collection in the last few months were both sent in PR, and one of them is actually a backup of the Urban Decay Hydromaniac foundation. I don't normally like to keep extras or backups of products, but I happened to receive another one of those in PR, and because it is one of my favorite foundations, I don't really mind having a backup because I'm sure once I use up the one I have, I will be happy to have an extra. So I would eventually like to bring the number back down to 5, but for now, I'm enjoying all the ones I have. So a category that pretty much never changes is foundation shade adjusters. I have 2, one to lighten foundations and one to darken them, and my goal is obviously to have just 2 at a time. My next category is concealers, and this year my goal was 5, and I have 6 now, but I am doing better than I was in my last update. At that point I had 7, and I did recently use up my Too Faced Born This Way concealer, which I feel like that one concealer is honestly the equivalent of like 2 full concealers because it does come with like double the product of a normal concealer, so that was a huge accomplishment. So I am down to 6 concealers now. It's still way more than I need. I feel like really I only probably need like 3 or 4 at a time, but I'm kind of hoping to use up the Milani concealer by the end of the year. I'm not actively panning it, but I'm just kind of focusing on that one because that is the one that I would like to use up next since it is my next oldest one. So hopefully I can get this number back down to 5 by the end of this year. We'll see. Next, for the category of color corrector, I just have 1, and I would like to have ideally 0. I'm just not that into color correctors, but I'm fine with 1 also, and that's the same one that I've had for the last 2 updates as well. Alright, my next category is face powder, and my goal this year was 3 actually, and I have had 5 face powders all year. Every inventory update, that's the number that I have. I'm trying to use up my Jordana Forever Flawless pressed powder. I'm actually getting pretty close. I do think this will be done by the end of the year, so I should be down to 4. We'll see. My goal of 3, I know that's a pretty low number, but I had set that goal at the start of this year because at that time I really wasn't that into using powder. In fact, I was only using it as an under eye powder. I wasn't even really using face powder to set my face at that point in time. But since then, my skin has kind of changed, and I actually do feel like I have sort of combo skin now. I can have some dryness, but I do feel like I get kind of oily in my T-zone especially. Who knows if that'll change in the next 3 months as we get into some cooler weather, but lately, all I'm trying to say is I've been getting more into using powder, so I feel like 5 isn't that ridiculous of a number because I do feel like I'm kind of going through it faster than I used to. So anyway, I'm still going to leave the goal at 3 because I would like to downsize this category a little bit. Also because I just don't really get that excited about powders. I don't feel like I need that many options, but that's just where we are right now. So the next category is bronzer. My goal this year for bronzer was also 3, also because I'm just not that into bronzer. I feel like if I honestly just had like maybe 1 cream bronzer and 1 powder bronzer, I would be happy. But I'm currently at 4 bronzers, which really isn't too bad. And one of those is in my project pan, the Wet n Wild Franken bronzer. This used to be an eyeshadow quad, but it is now in my bronzer category because I made a bronzer out of it. And I am thinking I'm on track to use this up by the end of the year. I really hope so because I don't want to bring this with me into 2022. So I'm really working hard to pan this. I've been using it almost every day. In my last inventory update, I had 5 bronzers and I did declutter one of them in my most recent collection declutter. So I'll link that below. In that video, I mainly focused on cheek products and lip products. Those were the main categories that I really kind of downsized. So check that out if you're interested to see what I did end up decluttering. But yeah, I'm feeling good about the bronzer category. For contour, my goal is 3, and I actually only have 1 currently, and it's my Oma Double Take contour stick. That is the same one that I've had all year long. I don't really see why I would ever need to have 3 contours, but in case I ever wanted to try a different formula or something, I have room to grow if I want to. Alright, so next for one of my problem categories, this is one where I just cannot seem to downsize, like ever. So I'm thinking next year I probably will raise my goal to a slightly higher number, and it's my highlighter category. I am just a sucker for highlighters, apparently. This includes both cream and powder highlighters, and I currently have 13, which is the same number that I had in my last update. I wanted to mention something. I was previously counting the shimmer side of the E.L.F. Cheek Duo in Lychee as a highlighter because it technically is a highlighter. Like, that is how I think a lot of people would use it, but I don't use it as a highlighter. I pretty much always just mix it with that blush since it would be too dark as a highlighter on me anyway. And I bought that duo knowing that I wouldn't use that side as a highlighter. I kind of wanted it to be more like those CoverFX duos. So I ended up just deciding to count that as 1 blush. Since I don't use that as a highlighter, I decided not to count that pan in my highlighter category. And I just lowered each of my previous updates numbers by 1 because I had been counting it as highlighter then, but I didn't want the numbers to be like skewed incorrectly. So anyway, I'm at 13, which is the same number I was at last time. I think I decluttered one, but then I also purchased one, the Nabla highlighter in the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale. So right back where I was last month, but yeah, I'm thinking next year my goal for highlighter is probably going to be 15 instead of 10 because it just doesn't seem realistic for me to have only 10 highlighters apparently. So next we have blush, and this one I'm very happy to report for the first time this year I have made it to my goal number. So my goal for blushes again was 10. And again, this includes cream, liquid, and powder blushes all in one category. And I'm at 10 now. Last update I had 13. So I feel like I've done a really good job. I did end up decluttering 3 in my declutter video, and I was realizing as I was taking like the product shots for this video that I really don't have very many powder blushes. I think the majority of my blush collection is actually cream and liquid blushes, which is just interesting. Now, do keep in mind this doesn't include face palettes. I do have a face palette that has 2 blushes in it, but I have a separate category for those. Alright, so next we have setting sprays, and my goal this year was 3, and I'm actually down to 2 now because I did use up my E.L.F. Dewy setting spray since my last update. So kind of similar to primers recently, I haven't been nearly as into setting sprays as I used to be. I used to use setting spray almost every single day to finish off my makeup, but lately I've been skipping that step more often than not. Actually, I am wearing my Pixie Glow Mist today. That used to be like my holy grail setting spray, but lately I just feel like it's almost too dewy and just kind of almost shiny, oily sort of. So it's great if you have really dry skin and you really want to like melt all your makeup together, but it's almost a little bit too oily for me these days. So that's the one you'll see in the shot. That's actually in my NYX Dewy Setting Spray bottle, but that's the Pixie Glow Mist in there. And then the Urban Decay Chill Setting Spray, I just feel kind of so-so about. The sprayer on that one likes to kind of stick down, so I also don't really feel like it does that much for me. So I don't know, I just haven't really felt like setting spray is that important of a part of my routine recently. So I don't really see this number growing by the end of the year. Maybe, we'll see, but I have room to grow if I want to. All right, so let's go ahead and do eye primer. My goal, I actually ended up changing my goal from 2 to 3 earlier this year because I have gotten more into different types of like eye bases. So I guess you could actually call this category more like eye bases rather than primers, because I have regular eye primers and then I also have my NYX glitter primer and my NYX jumbo pencil in milk that all serve kind of different purposes. I actually talked about that in my video that I posted recently about inexpensive products that are just game changers. They make my life easier. But I have 4 eye primers currently, 2 regular ones, and I would eventually like to only have 1 of those, but for now I just happen to have 2. But I do think for me, I like to have those 3 different kinds. Your just typical eye primer, and then the glitter primer and the white base, because I use them for all different purposes. But eye primers are not really something that I find myself like tempted to purchase, you know, once I have one. I just pretty much use that one until it's done. So next we have brows, and my goal this year is 2 brow products, one being my brow pomade and one being either a brow gel or some other type of product for like hold. And I currently have 3. I have a brow gel and also that E.L.F. brow wax, the Shape and Stay like brow wax crayon. And once I use up my Jordana brow gel, I don't think I'll be buying another brow gel, because I feel like the wax kind of does the same thing, and I have a feeling it's going to last a lot longer because I've used that thing a lot and I feel like I've barely worn it down. So yeah, I think that brow gel is one of those things I don't really need to have in my routine. I can live without it. So I am a little bit over my goal right now with 3, but I do think that that Jordana brow gel will be done by the end of the year. Alright, so next up we have eyeliner. This is another category where I've gone a little bit over my goal. My goal this year was 8. I now have 12, which is definitely a few more than I need. I'm working on panning my Covergirl Kohl eyeliner pencil in brown. And yeah, I have a couple of black pencils, a couple of browns, and then a bunch of other colors. But lately I have gotten a lot more into eyeliner and just having like different colors of pencil liners. I like having like a brown, a gray, a black, like a navy blue, some fun colors. So I don't know, I've just been having fun with eyeliner. So you know, I don't really mind having a few more than my goal. I've actually started storing them in like a cup so that I can see them all when I'm getting ready rather than having them like shoved in the back of my drawer. This way I feel like I'll be more inclined to actually rotate through them and use them all. So anyway, I don't know. I've been really into eyeliner this year. It's weird because for the past, I feel like 2 or 3 years, I really wasn't that into eyeliner. Most days I would skip liquid liner and I hardly ever used to use pencil liner, but now I use pencil liner like every single day. So go figure. So for mascara, my goal is 2 and I really prefer to only have 1 open at a time. But for some reason this year I've been having really bad luck with mascaras and a lot of them have been smudging on me. So anyway, I've ended up having like more than 1 open at a time. Currently the 2 that I have open do smudge on me. I did just buy a brown mascara from Covergirl. It's their Lash Blast mascara. I haven't opened it yet, but I'm really hoping that this one doesn't smudge because I've had this one in the past and I know it didn't smudge on me in the past. So if this one smudges on me too, then I'll know that it's like a me problem that's causing all this smudging. But anyway, we'll see. I also just wanted to have a brown mascara because I've always just used black, but I feel like brown will be pretty for kind of like softer looks or more neutral looks. So I'm excited to crack into that one. And if I end up loving the brown mascara, then I may end up, you know, just always having a brown and a black mascara on rotation. But that is where we are on mascara. Like I said, ideally, I'd like to just have 1 open at a time, but that never seems to happen. I usually seem to have like 2 or 3 open at once, but at least that way I feel like I'm still able to use them up before they expire. Alright, so the next category is eyeshadow palettes, and this is another one where I've gone a little bit over my goal. My goal this year was 20, which is I think the highest goal it's ever been. It seems like my eyeshadow palette collection expands just a little bit every year, but I did start the year with 18 and I'm now up to 22. That's a little over my goal, but I don't know. I've just been really enjoying palettes this year. I have fun trying them out and reviewing them and doing different looks with them, and I do feel like I do a pretty good job rotating through all my palettes, even my older ones, so I'm okay with having that slightly higher number. Since my last update, it's funny, since my last inventory update though, I have brought in 6 new palettes. And only 2 of those 6 were received in PR. So I have bought 4 new ones in recent months, which I feel like having so many new palettes in my collection at once has made it kind of hard to even enjoy any of the new palettes because I haven't even had that much time to use them since I've bought them. So I would like to hopefully slow down on palettes for the next 3 months of the year. I feel like I'm good. I just want to enjoy the ones that I have now, and the ones that I've recently bought, I just want to have fun with those. So next we have the category of eyeshadow duos, trios, and quads. Currently the only ones I have in this category are quads, and I have 3, and my goal was 5, so we are doing great. In my last update I had 4, and I did declutter one of those, the Estate quad, in my most recent declutter. Alright, then we have single magnetic eyeshadows. I've talked about how I don't know, I don't reach for my magnetic singles very often, so I really just want to have it pared down to the ones that I actually use or that I actually feel like add something different to my collection. So my goal has been 25, and I started the year with 20, then I had 22, and now I'm back down to 20. I did declutter a couple of them in my declutter video recently, so I'm happy with that, and I really just want to make a point to, again, rotate through all these and actually use them. Maybe I'll throw one of them into my project pan next year, we'll see. So then we have non-magnetic single eyeshadows, so these are ones that are kind of individually packaged in like their own compact or pot. And my goal on this one is 8, and I am at 4 right now, which I'm perfectly happy with. I included my one like eyeshadow stick in here just because I feel like I use that for a similar purpose. All of these are actually cream shadows, believe it or not. 2 of them are like ColourPop Super Shock shadows, which I guess is kind of like cream to powder. Then the other 2 are like true cream shadows. I don't really see the need to have a ton of these types of shadows in my collection because I just don't use them very often. I just tend to reach for palettes the most, so I'm trying not to collect too many of those. Then we have a category for liquid eyeshadows, and I just have my Becca dual-ended light gleam liquid shadows. I think I had the shade Refract. It's like a blue and then like a shimmery sort of pinky blue color. And one of you guys pointed out last update I was counting this as 1, and I really should count it as 2 since it's dual-ended, so I decided to count it as 2. So I did go ahead and adjust the previous numbers to be correct now. So that means I currently just have 2 liquid shadows. I did use up, finally, my E.L.F. soft matte eyeshadow. What was it called? Smooth matte eyeshadow in soft beige. It was like a liquid doe foot eyeshadow. That is how I was able to bring this number down to 2 this update. Very exciting. I'm not that big on liquid shadows, so again, it's just a category where I don't want to have too many. I'm fine with having a couple, but you know, I don't want to go overboard here. Alright, so then we've got the dreaded lipstick category. I was doing so well in this category for so long. There was a period of time where I just had way too many, and then I downsized, and then I was able to keep it at a really good number for a while. My goal number of lipsticks is 25, which is still a lot, but I don't know. I just like to have a nice variety of lipsticks. I started the year with 21, so I was doing great. The next 2 updates I had 22, still doing great. This update I have 26, and let me tell you, it was above 30 before my most recent declutter. That's a big part of the reason why I did that declutter, because I was like, oh man, my inventory video is coming up, I'd better get this under control because it was just getting kind of out of control. I will say I have just accumulated quite a few in PR over the last few months, so I'll blame a lot of it on that, but no one is forcing me to keep all of the PR that I receive, so I was trying to be a little bit more cutthroat in that area for my declutter. Anyway, I'm down to 26 now, still a little bit over my goal, but I'm working on panning my oldest one right now, which is the Ofra one. Yeah, I think I've just come to accept that lipsticks is one of those categories where I'm always going to have more than I need, but it just makes me happy. Lipsticks and like blushes and highlighters and eyeshadows, those are like my weaknesses. Let me know down below what categories are the ones where you just cannot seem to keep a minimal number. Alright, so next category is lip gloss. My goal for this category is 8, and I'm currently at 9. So I've actually already used up 2 lip glosses this year, which makes it even more surprising that I still am over my goal number, because I feel like 2 lip glosses completely used up in a year, that's more than usual. And I'm working on using up another one, the ColourPop one, I have it right here, that I think I should be done with by the end of the year. So if I can finish this by the end of the year, I will be back down to my goal number, assuming I don't acquire any new ones. I'm gonna try really hard, because I definitely have enough lip glosses to last me a while. And I've got all kinds of different colors. I've got light pinks, I've got clear ones, I've got, you know, some sort of champagne-y shimmer ones, so I'm good. I need to just use the ones I have right now. And that's even with having decluttered one in my declutter video. So last but not least, we have lip liner, and this is a category that really doesn't grow much. It doesn't ever seem to change all that much. My goal is 5, and I have 5, and I feel like I'm very happy with that amount, because I've got a red one, I've got a berry one, and then I've got, what else do I have? And then I have like 3 more nude ones. One is like a brownish pink, one is more of like a rosy pink, and one is a peachy pink. So that's really all I need. I can't imagine needing any more than that. So there you go. Those are all the categories of my makeup collection and exactly how many products I own in each one. To wrap things up, the categories that I really need to kind of keep an eye on and try not to purchase any new things would be foundation, concealer, powder, highlighter, eyeliner, eyeshadow palettes, and lipsticks, which sounds like most of the categories. But there definitely were some other categories where I am either comfortably below my goal or I'm on track to be at my goal by the end of the year. These are just the categories that I'm a little bit over my goal and I probably need to just slow it down a little bit. But none of these categories are completely out of control. You know, even the ones where I'm over my goal, I'm only over my goal by like a couple. So I feel pretty good about this. Let me know, do you keep a makeup inventory? And if so, how is yours going for the year? I definitely feel like I'm going to be making some adjustments to mine at the start of the new year, just because, you know, I feel like my preferences and my makeup routine, my skin, all those things have kind of changed a little bit over the past year, so I'm excited to kind of start fresh with some new goals next year. But for now, I feel really good about it. I hope you guys are having a great day. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you've not already. Also, if you like what I'm doing here and you want to support me a little bit more, I do have a Patreon now. I would love to hang out with you over there also. And otherwise, I hope to see you again very soon in my next video. Bye!